Are y'all ready to learn some of the most unexpected ways that are going to change the way you craft every single day? In today's video, we're going to dive into some of my favorite hacks that have changed the way I've crafted over the last decade. It's going to be an incredible video where we're going to break down some of my favorite Cricut hacks, techniques, and twists and turns that happen when you're crafting. If you're ready to jump into today's video, go ahead, hit subscribe because we're posting brand new Cricut videos every single week, and I want to see you here for this video and the next one. I don't know about you, but for some reason, when it comes to staining and working with any sort of stain, I felt like I had to go and become a carpenter to be able to do it. But after I actually got over my fear and started playing around with stain, I realized it's actually easier to use than paint. It looks more professional, you can see your wood grain, and I actually fell in love with it. So I want to walk you through how you can make your own stain that is going to make it so much easier for every single one of your craft products. And it's something that I know that each of you have in your home right now. Are you guys ready to see what it is? It is acrylic paint and water. What? You may think I'm crazy, but let me walk you through how I love to turn acrylic paint into stain by just adding some water, and I'm gonna walk you through the whole process. So let's dive in. All right, so we have our multi-surface paint. This is one that I recommend. Multi-surface paint is going to be a thicker consistency paint, but this will work with any type of acrylic paint, all right? I would even say that your thinner acrylic paints that are the cheaper ones actually work just as well, if not better, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take just a little bit of acrylic paint, and I'm just going to place it onto my plate, just like so. Now, one thing to think about when you're using the thicker acrylic paint is that you're gonna need more water to dilute it. So when I talk about using cheaper acrylic paint, that means you'll just need less water because it's already more watered down. Does that make sense? So what we're going to do is we're going to take some water with our paintbrush, and we're just going to dab it right over top of our multi-surface paint. And you can always add more water, but I just like to start with a few drops. And then what will happen is we're going to start stirring this in. And you're going to be able to create an awesome, awesome stain. And you're just going to mix this together and play around with it. And you can see it quickly turns in to translucent brown stain, which is exactly what you want. And if you're anything like me, you do not want to have to spend $10, $12, $15 on stain at the home improvement store when you could make it with a $1.50 bottle of paint. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So once you've created it, what I want to do is show you how easy it is to apply it onto any material. So what we have done is we already have this frame. As you can see on the right side, we've already stained it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the stain on the left side, all right? And then my favorite tip when doing this process is after you apply it, we're going to take a piece of paper towel and we're going to remove any of the excess because we want it to feel even and make sure it's not super thick because that will give the most professional look. Are you guys ready? Let me show you how. So we're gonna grab a little stain and we're just going to start applying it down. Now, as you can see, this is when you can decide if it's too thick, too thin. If you want to go thinner, it won't be as thick. You can always like right away just add some water to help thin it out, which is what I did, and notice it just starts making it go like last so much longer, which I really like that. One thing to note, if you're using thinner wood, and notice I can just like dip it into the water and stretch it out, when using thinner wood, you won't be able to do that because it could actually warp your wood. So just be very, very mindful of that. And then I'm just coming down here. Notice like by here, it's totally different consistency than up here. That's when I would kind of grab some more and stretch it out. And again, we're just applying this here. The top needs to be evened out. That's why I have the paper towel almost ready to go. I'll go grab a little more paint, a little more water, finish this out here. And we could do the whole frame now, just because I have made a different consistency. One of the benefits of buying stain is it's already going to be consistent. And when you do a process like this, you don't have to worry about making the exact consistency. But as a crafter, we kind of love doing things our own way. So there are pros and cons to having it. But what I found is so many of us crafters were constantly, wanting a very unique color, and there's no reason we should have to go through and buy a whole thing of stain just for 1 or 2 projects. So this is where this technique shines the most, is when you're just needing it for 1 project and you're like, Tanner, I don't need a ton of stain. So then I take my paper towel and I kind of just remove any excess. What this will allow you to do is will allow it to dry a lot faster as well. And what I love is that with this, you can get into all the edges really easily because it's watered down. So you can just even add some water here, work it into the edges. And then here in a moment, I'm gonna share with you my favorite hack to speed up this drying process. All right, I promised here in a moment I was gonna share with you my favorite hack for speeding up the process of drying any paint and stain, which I will, but I have a few unexpected hacks that you probably have never thought about using when it comes to your heat gun. Let me share with you one of my favorites, which is constantly happening to me with heat transfer vinyl. Heat transfer vinyl is constantly in a state of being rolled up and will never lay flat onto my Cricut mat. Let me share with you today how I can use a heat gun to kind of help me make sure this is going to lay flat. And this helps so that if you don't have a super sticky Cricut mat, it's going to allow you to help it stay down and not curl up as much on the mat. So what you'll do is you'll hold it flat, and then on a low to medium setting, you can go ahead and just apply some heat, and it's going to help relax the vinyl from being all curled up. And again, this is heat activated, but I am using the, the protective carrier sheet. So you just want to stay moving. I wouldn't get too close to it, but as you can see, it'll start laying flat on its own. And I just kind of focus on the edges, and it's very helpful. So this will start allowing you to let it lay flat, and you will not have as much curling as you might have without doing this. So this is one of my favorite hacks with the heat gun. And as you can see, your heat transfer vinyl will now be able to lay flat. You can go ahead and apply it onto a Cricut mat to be ready to cut, which is very, very helpful. Now, moving right along, another hack that I have that I love to do when it comes to adhesive vinyl is actually setting my vinyl with a heat gun. And what that means is after you've applied your vinyl decal onto a project, you can take this heat gun, and what you'll find is that you can lightly go over it for about 10 to 20 seconds, and it's going to kind of set the the vinyl onto the glass. So watch. This is just going to help set it, and it kind of heats up the adhesive to make it last longer. If you've never done this, it is night and day comparison to if you just apply the vinyl onto glass on its own. One thing to note is you definitely want to do a cool or the low setting. No reason to go to a high setting here whatsoever, all right? Now in the same breath, too much heat will allow you to actually remove your vinyl from any glass surface. So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing a Cricut tool so that after I heat it up on a high setting, it's going to allow me to remove the vinyl with the most ease. So let's go ahead and turn this to high, and we're going to heat up one of our flowers right here, and then we're going to remove it. And it will allow us to easily be able to peel it up with our weeding tool. So I just do 10 to 15 seconds and then turn it off, grab my weeding tool, and then watch how easy, no mess, being able to peel off this vinyl and have no issue whatsoever. We could even probably have, see where I didn't apply as much heat, it leaves a little bit more residue, but it still comes off just from that extra heat. And notice, no need to have any rubbing alcohol or anything like that trying to remove it, because once you heat it up, just for a few seconds, it's going to still, allow you to then come in with that weeding tool and just peel it up. So quick and easy, bam. So you can have this in your back pocket to remove any vinyl from any glass, any porous surface using the heat gun. This last tip is one that I've been doing for years, but many people are constantly surprised that I'm using a heat gun to set my acrylic paint, to set my stain, and this will speed up your crafting so much. So let's go ahead and turn it onto high. And I'm just going to heat set our paint that we just painted onto the wood. And again, this is one that if you're an impatient crafter like myself, you will constantly be doing this, because the heat gun will become one of those tools that are like a staple in your crafting, and you'll pull it out time and time again, and you'll constantly have it to just speed up the process. And now you'll be able to see this is totally dry, and you can touch it and you can move on to the next step in your craft. All right, so since I've already been able to stain this frame, I wanna share with you guys a few extra hacks in a real life craft. So what I went ahead and did was I used one of the Makers Gonna Learn fonts, which if you're not a member, check out the links down below, join Makers Gonna Learn. We have over 1,000 fonts. As soon as you become a member, you get access to over 1,000 fonts. And what I'm gonna do for today's video is put a link to our dollar deal. You can join our membership for $1. You're gonna get 20 download credits. That's 5 cents a download, incredible, just if you click the link down below and join, all right? Then what will happen is you can download the fonts and start playing with them and having so much fun, okay? So what I want you to do is take a font, type it out, turn it into a stencil, which if you wanna learn our whole process, we will link one of those videos down below on how to make a stencil, which is super easy. And we have done that. So we're going to share with you some of our favorite hacks when it comes to stenciling, okay? So what I'm going to do, I've added the transfer tape. I'm going to burnish this down, and then I'm going to flip this around back, and I'm using Oracal 813 today. My favorite is Oracal 650 or 651, but we're just using scraps because that's what I recommend when it comes to being able to make stencils. And the 813 is actually made for stencils. So you can see it's not like real vinyl, it's translucent and it's made for stenciling. What I also wanna tell you as a hack is, guys, use the colors of vinyl that you were never planning on using. Like I have so many purples, pinks, greens, oranges that I'm never use on a project. If you don't have specific stencil transfer vinyl, use the scraps. It'll work just as well, especially with the hacks I'm gonna share with you. So now we're going to apply this down just like so. You just wanna line this up. And then once you do, we're gonna burnish again. Now, we're gonna pull out that heat gun a few more times because you're going to see how great it is to have your heat gun available. And if you notice what I just did, I'm not burnishing enough. So you really want to burnish, 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 even with your finger. And then you want to start in different corners. And I like to make sure it's at a tight peel, right? Notice the tighter you keep it, the less flaws that can happen. Beautiful. So even though I had almost messed up the F, I saved the day. I recommend saving your transfer tape because look, this has enough stick for another 1 to 3 more projects. So I like to keep it on the side of my Cricut, the side of my table, just ready to go. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab that heat gun again, and I'm just gonna quickly set this just for very, very quick. Very, very quick, y'all. And what you'll notice, I don't know if you could pick it up on the camera, but y'all, the transfer mask, the vinyl, whatever you're using, it just goes even deeper into the wood. So you can even feel the textured wood over top this like never before when you apply that heat, which is super, super nice. All right. But if you're like, Tanner, I want to know the secrets to the best possible stenciling, I'm about to give it to you. All right. And it's one simple tip that's going to change the quality forever. All right. What you're going to do is remember that stain we made. Before we apply our navy, we are going to apply one layer of our stain. And it might sound a little crazy, but one layer of our stain is going to save the day of our project. All right. So we're just applying this over the entire project. And we will wipe away all this excess paint too before we apply our navy. So there you have it. I've applied one layer. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab a piece of paper towel, wipe off the stain, make sure you don't miss any corners, and then we're going to heat set it once again. So I grab my paper towel. We're just going to wipe the stain off. Really good. Now what we'll do is we're going to heat set this. So what's happened here is if for any reason, any of the stain is going to go out from the stencil, it's going to happen now and not when we apply our paint. So I'm just going to quickly heat this up. Beautiful. And you just want to make sure you can touch it. Again, no stains coming off. And then now we can grab our awesome navy paint. We're using some mineral paint by StarCraft. You can grab another brush. And what I'm going to recommend here is if you can, you want to go in a dabbing motion. And you really would not want to have as much paint as I just had on my brush. So what I would recommend is you would take some paint, and notice it's quite a bit on the brush. You'll want to take it over here, dab some off, and then apply the process. And this up and down motion is going to help you get the best quality as well. And then you can pick up a little extra paint. I was trained by some of the best stencilers in the world, and I was shocked by, his name's Ed Roth, how little paint he ever has on his paintbrush. Like, I think I have triple the amount of paint that he would ever have on his brush. Like, he takes such little paint and he just goes over and over multiple times so that you're getting the best quality, all right? So chances are, if you're stenciling and you're not getting great results, you have too much paint on your paintbrush, all right? So be sure to not have so much paint on that brush, all right? So pick up some of this paint and you're just going to go over and over your letters. Pick up some paint, dab a lot off, and then come in. And that, my friends, if you only pick up one hack from today's video, should be the one you take home, because that one is going to help all of you with your stenciling. All right? And I can see maybe I went too light. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more paint and we'll come back into this eye. I just want to make sure all of them are deep and rich, rich, rich colors. All right? One thing to note is that latex paint peels. So it's best to use matte or flat paints when you're stenciling as well. So there's a lot of tips. And again, you want to have good skills when it comes to stenciling, because you're going to stencil a lot in your career of crafting. I promise. It is a skill that comes so handy to have in that back pocket of once you've applied all of your paint, I like to put it in different light and just make sure no corners, nothing's missed. And then we are going to heat set it once again. And again, this will be a light heat set just to dry the paint so that we can then go through and remove our stencil. And then after it's heat set, you can look again and make sure it is covered. Like I see one corner in particular that I'm like, oh, it needs a little bit more love, right? Just a little bit more love here. And you can see any other corner. You're like, oh, it needs more. You can just do that real fast. And then once you're ready, you can heat set it one last time. And once you're good to go, we will now be able to let this cool and remove the stencil. So let's go ahead, take it, and start peeling this back right here. Look at how beautiful that letter turned out, right? It only took 1 or 2 extra steps to get this great quality. Wow. Oh my gosh. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Let's go in here with the A. And then y'all, look at this. Wow. Boom. So we were able to do an amazing stencil right like this with a few steps. It allowed us to have the best quality possible. All right, my friends, if you've ever wanted to make your own 3D paper flowers and make these rolled paper flowers look so awesome, so easy, and so fun, let me share with you exactly how we love to do it using a drill and a bobby pin. You are not going to believe how something cut with your Cricut that looks just like this, and this is one of the files you can download as part of your 20 files from Makers Gonna Learn when you join for $1 and turn it into this. And you can make these in 20-30 seconds over and over again with your Cricut and your drill and the bobby pin. Let me share with you how. So all you're gonna want to do is take this right here, and what we've done is just tightened the nose of your drill to kind of hold the bobby pin in securely. And I'm talking real secure, okay? So what we'll do is we're gonna start with the outer edge. A lot of people get confused and wanna start with the inner piece, but you wanna start with the outer piece, all right? So we're just gonna tuck that in here. And then with my left hand, I am going to hold it. And with my right hand, or whatever your dominant hand is, that's the hand you're going to pull the trigger of your amazing drill. So then you're going to hold that and look, really slowly. You can do this, loose. You could do this real tight. However you want your flower to come together, you can do it. One of my best tips is just to hold it, and you can go as slow or as fast as you want. You just want to make sure that it all stays together. All right, so after you have been able to get it all together, you're just going to pull it off. And if it's a little tight, that's totally fine. You're just going to want to hold it and just pull off the paper. And then after you have been able to pull it off, what you're going to see here is that you can hold it and let it loose so that it kind of flattens out a little bit. You don't want to let it go too much because you're going to lose the tightness, but you can also bring the tightness in as well. But what I want to show you is that you'll want to have your hot glue ready because we're going to place the hot glue here. So I'm going to grab my hot glue gun and I'm just going to apply probably a decent amount of hot glue here. So as you can see, I'm just applying a decent amount so that it is going to allow us to hold it all into place. So now, after you hold it here, you can just apply this for 10 to 15 seconds. And then look, this is how you are able to go through and make so many of these so quick because looky here. It does not take much time at all to be able to use the bobby pin, to use the drill, be able to roll it up, add the dab of hot glue, and I love adding some of these flowers onto signs or certain types of 3D projects, and so much dimension can be achieved by doing the rolled paper flowers. And trying to roll these manually, no. This is the way you want to do it. Pull out the drill, grab an old bobby pin, and go at it. All right, my friends, which one of these was your favorite? I get obsessed and I'm in love with being able to make my own stain, be able to learn the true technique, the true process of working with stencils and perfecting any sort of painting. That's probably my favorite takeaway from this video. What about you? I want to learn in the comments down below, what was your favorite aha moment of this craft process? I love sharing it with you guys, more of these in-depth hack videos where we get to actually build a project and have skills kind of compound on each other, because you're really able to build a lot of skills off of one another, like the resource of the heat gun and the different type of paint and stain and all the stenciling techniques, and being able to remove or make sure vinyl is, really heat activated, even though it's adhesive vinyl. So there was a lot of breakthroughs that we shared in this video. Be sure to comment down below, let me know your favorite. Hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. Here at Makers Gonna Learn, we're constantly posting Cricut videos. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up and take advantage of our dollar deal. Try our membership out, 7-day trial for $1. You get 20 download credits. And whenever you run out of credits, you can upgrade that membership to be a monthly member within the 7 days right away. Or if you don't cancel, you're a monthly member until you do. So there's no harm and foul at trying it out. Check out our system, check out our platform. It is incredible. You're going to love it. And I cannot wait to see you join the thousands of members at Makers Gonna Learn, mastering their Cricut, gaining a lot of creativity, seeing a lot of friends in the community, and crafting more. Can't wait to see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.